This year's Men's French Open is wide open. So with that being said, let's try to predict who wins this year's 2024 Men's French Open. What's up, everybody? It's John Eric Poli, and this year's Men's French Open wide open. So who's going to be the champion when it's all said and done on the courts at Roland Garros? It's going to be fun, right? A lot of twisted turns ahead in this year's tournament. Let's try to predict a winner here with a wide open field. I did do a video on contenders and favorites. You guys can check that out for more breakdowns here. But for me, I really like the draw of Alexander Zverev, and I expect him to definitely be right in the mix of things here. And also, Casper Ruud had a very good draw as well. So I think one of those two guys really have a good shot of making the finals, especially since they're in the same half as Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. Really quickly talking about those two, whoever would have thought we'd be sitting here saying that we don't think these guys are going to do anything in a French Open, right? Rafael Nadal, 14-time champion, greatest player to ever step foot on the courts at Roland Garros. Very bad clay season so far. Now, granted, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries and whatnot. I understand that, but still not having a very good clay season. And then Novak Djokovic just having a rough 2024 in general. Both of these guys are going to have to try to find their stride here, but it's going to be really, really tough for them. And both Zverev and Ruud, very good draws in this year's French Open. Now we go to the other half of the bracket, and this is where things get really fun. We have Jannik, who's having a great 2024. Only lost, 3 times all year here so far in 2024. Started off his clay season very strong. He lost the semis of Monte Carlo in controversial fashion to Stefanos Tsitsipas. But the big thing for Sinner, is he going to be healthy? How's that hip going to hold up? And can he push through and try to make a run here in this year's French Open? You also have Carlos Alcaraz on this half of the bracket as well. Alcaraz, all the talent in the world. At the start of 2024, I think mostly everybody had him kind of penciled in this year's French Open to be the champion. He's been a little banged up. He's been dealing with a lot of injuries. We'll see what happens there. And then, of course, there's the inconsistencies of Stefanos Tsitsipas and Andrey Rublev out there. Both of these guys did win ATP 1000 events this year on clay in 2024. Tsitsipas winning in Monte Carlo, and Andrey Rublev winning in Madrid. So both of these guys definitely have the talent to do so in this French Open, but we'll see if they can get over those inconsistencies, not to mention that they also have to play each other most likely, and they're on the same half of the bracket as Sinner and Alcaraz. So that's half the bracket's the fun one, in my opinion. Who comes out of that one? And for me, I'm probably going to go, not going to lie, with Carlos Alcaraz. I think Alcaraz, all the talent in the world. I think he's very good on clay. I thought last year he was actually outplaying Novak Djokovic in that semifinal until he hurt his hip. It kind of ran out of gas a little bit there. And I think that was a very good learning experience, too, for Carlos Alcaraz. I expect him to be very hungry to win this year's championship. I like the fact that he took off the Italian Open to rest up a little bit. I think he's going to be coming into this tournament with a lot to prove, and I expect him to make a very deep run in this year's tournament. Now, who's he get matched up with? And for me, again, like I said, I really like Zverev's draw, and I like the way that Zverev's playing. He looks so good in the Italian Open as he won that tournament. I think he dropped, one set throughout the course of that whole entire tournament. He's serving good. His backhand's on point. And the other thing here is Zverev has been outplaying Alcaraz this year, believe it or not. Beat him in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. That was kind of the real big one there for Zverev, and he did beat him again in 2024. So we'll see what happens as far as if both of those guys get there. But in my personal opinion, I think we're looking at a Zverev-Alcaraz matchup, and that should be a fun one. And I'm not going to lie, I really like the way that Zverev looked in this year's Italian Open, and he was great last year making the semifinals. He's a 2-time semifinalist at the French Open. So I'm going with the feel-good story here. I think Alexander Zverev gets his first major championship. He's going to win this year's French Open. Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. I am not confident with that prediction at all. In my personal opinion, there are 8 guys that really are the favorites to win this year's championship. There's some contenders out there as well that I think can make very deep runs, make things interesting. It's going to be a very fun tournament to watch. But I'm going with that feel-good story of Alexander Zverev beating Carlos Alcaraz in the final. Very well could go the other way. Alcaraz could be Zverev in the final. Who knows? Maybe somebody else even comes out of it. It's going to be a fun tournament. Let me know what you guys think of this year's French Open. It's going to be, like I said, a fun tournament to watch. Let me know who you guys have as the winner of this year's French Open.